Bitcoin is about to hit a key price in the next few days that will trigger an explosive move for the entire crypto market. We are not just talking about a small pop, we're talking massive gains across your portfolio. Expect 50%, even 100% gains every single day for some altcoins for weeks. This is what happens when all the sidelined cash and hesitant bears start to FOMO back in. In today's video, I'll show you exactly which key price will ignite this rally, which altcoins are set to go parabolic, and how you can profit big time from this. Make sure to hit the like button, sit tight, and let's find those massive gains together. When Bitcoin hits $70,000, billions of dollars in short positions will get liquidated, forcing these traders to buy Bitcoin, which will spike it further. I'll also break down how this will affect major altcoins, and which narratives are gaining traction right now, especially the new narratives that you may not be paying attention to. Yes, meme coins are still in the game, but there's another story developing. GameFi and real-world assets are also starting to explode, and the attention is starting to shift toward them. We've seen China pumping billions into its economy, the US getting ready to cut interest rates, and major markets across the globe setting all-time highs. It's only a matter of time before all that liquidity flows into Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. Historical patterns tell us that Q4 is a notoriously bullish period, and this year is shaping up to be no different. In fact, we could see Bitcoin reach $90,000 or even $100,000 by Christmas. And while 50% gains on Bitcoin sound cool, I know you're here for bigger gains, and that's why we need to look at what's happening next in the altcoin market. The real opportunity lies in the narratives that haven't exploded yet, particularly in sectors like GameFi, real-world assets, and even overlooked Layer 1 solutions. GameFi, in particular, is ripe for massive upside. Projects like Off the Grid are gaining huge traction, not just among crypto users but among gamers in general. These projects are bringing in active users without them even realizing they're interacting with crypto. We're seeing ecosystems like Avalanche and Sui start to pick up in activity as GameFi begins to get more mainstream attention. This kind of organic adoption is what drives explosive gains. Now, one thing we have to talk about, because it's a trap I've seen many fall into, is the meme coin cycle. Yes, there are still gains to be made, but don't get caught buying at the peak when all the hype is at its highest. Meme coins thrive on attention. When attention spikes, it's already too late. That's why we're shifting our focus to more undervalued narratives where attention is still low. Let's take advantage of the smart money opportunities, because that's what smart money does. We buy when no one's paying attention, and we sell when every headline is shouting to buy. When Bitcoin breaks out, the altcoin market will follow. But remember, not all altcoins will move together. It starts with the larger caps and then moves to the smaller caps. We've already started seeing some larger altcoins like Aptos and Sui run, which tells us that the rotation is beginning. So, the key is to stay ahead of the curve, make profits from large caps, and then rotate into smaller, riskier bets when the timing is right. And speaking of timing, we're nearing that moment. I'll also share my thoughts on which Layer 1 projects are worth watching. Avalanche, Aptos, Sui, these are the chains seeing high growth in both transactions and TVL, and the data doesn't lie. We have to follow the money and the activity. Some of these are starting to see gaming and real-world asset projects gain traction, and that's exactly where we want to be. Now, let's take a deeper dive into what's driving this market shift and how you can strategically position yourself to make the most of it. Bitcoin's breakout is more than just a rally. It's a liquidity shift that we see every major cycle. This isn't just a small group of traders pushing the price. It's global factors that are aligning perfectly. We have macroeconomic catalysts, like central banks around the world shifting their monetary policies, which are all pointing toward a more bullish sentiment for Bitcoin and the broader crypto market. Take China, for example, printing record sums of money and pumping it into their economy. This is going to have an impact not just on China, but globally. Liquidity flows across borders, and when China starts moving money, that liquidity finds its way into different markets, especially high-risk, high-reward markets like crypto. We also have the United States gearing up for interest rate cuts and potentially turning the money printer back on, which is extremely bullish for all risk assets, including Bitcoin and altcoins. But the most exciting part of this next phase is not just Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the leading indicator, but altcoins are where the life-changing gains are made. In particular, GameFi, real-world assets, and Layer 1 projects are showing the most promise. Let's break each of these down a bit more to understand where the real opportunities lie. GameFi, for one, is on the verge of going mainstream. We've talked about Off the Grid, a new blockchain game that's gaining traction. What makes this game different is that people are playing it without even realizing it's connected to blockchain technology. This is key because it means we're finally starting to see blockchain adoption that doesn't rely on crypto enthusiasts, but rather on mainstream gamers. Avalanche, the blockchain on which Off the Grid is built, is already seeing a spike in transactional activity and TVL. This is exactly what we look for when we want to get in early on an emerging trend. Now, let's talk about real-world assets. RWA is one of the most exciting sectors right now because it bridges traditional finance and crypto in a meaningful way. Projects that are tokenizing real estate, commodities, and even equities are starting to gain traction. This is a market that's not only massive in size, but also still in its infancy in terms of adoption. We're talking about bringing trillions of dollars worth of assets onto the blockchain. Imagine being able to buy a fraction of a high-rise building in New York City or a portion of a gold reserve, all on the blockchain. This is the kind of disruptive potential we're talking about. In terms of Layer 1 solutions, we're seeing some very interesting dynamics. Solana, for instance, has been leading the charge among the newer generation of Layer 1s, but Aptos, Sui, and even Avalanche are proving themselves as formidable players. Aptos and Sui, in particular, have seen huge increases in volume and development activity. These projects are pushing boundaries in terms of scalability, efficiency, and user experience. They are attracting developers, users, and most importantly, capital. And when we see capital flowing into these ecosystems, we know price action is soon to follow. Another important narrative is the evolution of DeFi. While GameFi and meme coins capture much of the headlines, DeFi continues to be the backbone of the crypto ecosystem. We're seeing upgrades across various DeFi protocols to improve scalability, lower gas fees, and provide better user experience. The projects that can position themselves as leaders in this space are going to see massive appreciation in value as more users adopt decentralized solutions over traditional financial institutions. One thing we must keep in mind is the flow of liquidity. In every cycle, liquidity moves from Bitcoin to large-cap altcoins, and then to mid- and small-cap projects. This flow is consistent, and understanding it allows us to position ourselves accordingly. Currently, we're seeing early signs of this liquidity rotation. Bitcoin is attracting new money, which will soon flow into the larger caps like Solana, Avalanche, Aptos, and eventually trickle down to smaller cap altcoins. This is why it's so critical to stay ahead of the curve. If you're holding the right assets before the liquidity hits, you're set to reap massive rewards. When we talk about meme coins, it's important to understand where we are in that cycle as well. Meme coins like Doge, SHIB, and Pepe have all had their runs, and while there are still opportunities in the meme coin space, it's becoming more selective. The hype cycles are shorter, and the gains are more volatile. It's all about timing, getting in before the hype and getting out before the inevitable crash. That's why meme coins should be a small part of a well-diversified portfolio, especially when compared to more fundamentally sound projects in GameFi, DeFi, and RWA. We're also seeing the rise of new Layer 2 solutions that are working to make blockchains more efficient. Rollups and other scaling solutions are becoming a critical part of the ecosystem, allowing for faster transactions and lower fees. This is especially important for Ethereum, as it continues to struggle with high gas fees during periods of high network activity. Projects like Arbitrum and Optimism are leading the charge in this area and could provide great opportunities as more users migrate to these cheaper and faster options. So, where do we go from here? The strategy is clear. Focus on Bitcoin for stability and growth, capitalize on large-cap altcoins as the market gains momentum, and then position yourself in smaller, high-potential projects as the liquidity flows down. Stay informed, keep an eye on market trends, and never forget to take profits. The market is about to get explosive, and if you're prepared, you can make life-changing gains. As we wrap up today's video, if you're interested in exploring the real-world assets market and learning how industry giants like BlackRock are leading the way, make sure to check out our recent video on the top 7 RWA crypto projects for 2025. Please note that the information shared in this video is intended solely for educational and informational purposes. It should not be taken as financial or investment advice. Always conduct your own research and consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.